guys, and thanks for stopping by my channel. So I decided to do what I'm going to dub an education for Yankee Candle video. As random as that is, you know, the holidays are over. I've been doing some rearranging at home, you know, in general, some cleaning. And I know it sounds funny, but I know I'm not the only person out here that does like a candle inventory. I have to kind of really catalog what I have, what comes and goes. I rearrange for the seasons. You know, I pull out my falls and winters and springs, and I've been doing a lot of rearranging. And it kind of occurred to me, like, a lot of people ask me questions, or in general, they're not really sure a lot about different things with candles, which I'm just talking about Yankee Candle today, because that's like my area of expertise that I know and love and have experimented with, and just seem to really have a lot of like hours clocked in with it, I guess you could say. So I decided it might be kind of a perfect little educational video to talk about the different types of candles, wax, and treatment, like taking care of them. So I've got all the candles turned around because I wanted to show the wax forms, and I was going to talk about each one to kind of let you guys know like what's the difference in a lot of stuff. You know, the first thing, like when it comes to, with Yankee Candle anyway, especially when I have company over and they see my little collection stashed up against the wall, like they freak out because they associate Yankee Candle with a $30 candle. And, you know, I get asked a lot of questions and get put on the spot a lot. So I guess for the number one thing I could tell you about Yankee Candle for me is I have never, ever, ever paid full price for anything. Well, I mean, the only things I might have ever paid full price for might be like wick trimmers or something. But even then, every once in a while, it's on sale. But for wax, I never pay full price ever. They're generous with coupons. They have semi-annual sales. They have employee sales. They always do sales for holidays every month. They have coupons, you know, every month. I mean, there's millions of ways to save money. You just have to know how to do it. Always do your research on the internet for coupons. Sign up for mailing lists. Sign up for their catalogs in the store, on their website. They will send them to you. You know, there's millions of ways to save money, first of all. I mean, that's true to most any kind of retail type company as coupons. So obviously that's the first thing I recommend, is never pay full price for it, for starters. But the other thing is, when that is the hypothetical $30 candle, is you want to take care of it. That's what I always recommend. I'm like, hey, you know, if this thing's worth $30, take care of it. Like, get the most burn out of it. Keep it clean. Keep it, you know, smelling great. Use it to the very end. Like, use it till that little, you know, like half-inch whatever at the bottom of the glass they want you to do. Some people I know even get that half-inch. They pluck it out and they burn it in the warmer like they would a tart. So, get that $30 worth, first of all. That's what I definitely start off with recommending. So I guess I'll just kind of talk about the sizes, and then I'll talk about the types of wax. So obviously there are the two largest. You have a large tumbler, which has the flat tops and 2 wicks. On the large ones, have 2 wicks. Then you have the large jar, the iconic large jar that has 1 wick. So these are the two larges. When it comes to mediums, they have stopped making medium tumblers like that. You might find them straggling around discounted, but they only make the medium jar. I've never recommended the jars unless maybe it's the only, you know, fragrance of one kind you could find. But when these are $25 and those are $28, $3 difference, and it's double the burn time for a large one. So I do only have like 2 mediums, and I think it's because they came in gift sets. So this is the medium jar, but they also make swirl candles that are only available in mediums. And like this is Let It Snow here, but it has the obviously kind of swirled effect to it. And then you get to smalls. This is the small jar here, just a little baby. Also, they all have 1 wick for the jars. And then we have the small tumbler, which is just a fraction bit smaller than the large one. So those are the sizes. I always recommend large jar, small tumbler. For when you look at the money and your burn time, and especially when you use coupons, these are my go-to sizes, as weird as that is. Even though this little guy does pretty good, it's only a few bucks more for the tumbler, but again, it's just my personal preference. It's just my recommendation, but that's the sizes. Now, when you get into, there's 2 types of wax, obviously. You have the smooth wax, then you have it's called the mottled wax. When I did a video on, there was a store closing, and I kind of like randomly, I think that's what gave me the idea plucked in my head, as I was like, oh, by the way, a lot of people say marbled or mixed, or, you know, they have different terms for the wax. But this is called modeling, and it's just the layering, you know, it's the way it's made. It's just, this is paraffin wax. Purely paraffin wax that is the oils put in, the color tints put in, and that's what you get. The smooth wax is like this one, which has soy in it. It's still, I believe it does still have paraffin to it, but it's soy. So the difference between smooth waxes and the paraffins is smooth is going to burn a lot faster. The throw is stronger, but the burn is a lot faster. That's why there's really not even, not much of an hourly time clocked in on these bad boys, because they're just shy of what a large jar would be, but they really don't have an estimated. When you get the large jars, they estimate, what, 110 to 150 hours. And I never knew this till recently, but when they say 110 to 150, you think, okay, they just can't make up their mind. But the thing that gives you the 150 is actually the Alumilids. People think these are just like a gimmick to dress it up or to, you know, waste $10 for one, but they really do serve a purpose. Many, many purposes. And this is what I mean by, like, if you're paying 30 bucks for a candle, hypothetically, take care of it. Now, some, you know, are a little more spacious. This one's got more gaps, more holes in it. Some are a lot more caved, like filled in, where it's a lot thicker. But these do many things. One, they are going to even your heat. They're going to even the heat going down, keep the draft out, so you have a more even burn. But they do also, on the underneath, which this one I haven't used much and it's dark anyway, but you'll see the blackening that'll get under here. It keeps the soot out of it. It keeps the soot out of your air. It keeps it off of, you know, wandering around your house and winding up through your air vents and who knows. So they do serve quite a few purposes, and they just happen to make them pretty because they are useful. But it also keeps the jars clean. Like, you know, if you've ever burned a candle for, you know, an afternoon, and then you burn it again and then again, you'll notice it starts getting those little rings of just wax that just kind of builds up, just like, and you can tell where you've been burning it going down. That keeps the jars completely clean too. So this bad boy is really worth it. I know people think it's not, but I use this on every single candle now, and it has paid for itself. Like, honestly, some people, you know, they think if it's you know, not broke, don't fix it. They don't use it. They don't have a problem. That's totally cool. Keep doing what you're doing. I personally always use one. Now, as far as the wick trimming goes, you know, the little cards they give you, it says 1/8 of an inch. The weird thing about wick trimming is I don't dig it so much, especially the first burn. That's why these are still kind of, now if it's excessively long, like this one, I might could trim a little bit, but I don't trim the first burns usually. And even when they're burning down, the only things I ever get are the little mushrooms on top. I'll get rid of that, but I don't sit there and keep trimming it down to the 1/8 of an inch. Kind of the same scenario where people do trial and error. If it's not broke, don't fix it. I have always found success in trimming the little ball off the top, but just leaving the length there, because I feel like it's got more room to burn. You know, they might argue against that, or other people may argue against that, but that's just the luck I have found in doing the Yankee candles. So, you know, definite recommendation for that. And in case you were wondering, the burn times, like the medium jars, the burn time is 65 to like 90 hours. And the small ones are like 25 to 40, which isn't bad considering the size of it. Now, these are obviously perfect for like bathrooms or smaller bedrooms. Mediums are fine and larges are fine. You can always layer stuff. Like if you have a large space, you can always burn a candle and then do like the little plug-ins for the wall that you can do, or, you know, have a tart going as well. You know, things like that are always good recommendations. And the other form of wax they have are their tarts and votives. Now, votives are made the same as these are, like the mottled wax. They're just shaped in the form they're in. They wrap them up, they send them on their way, they burn like a candle does. Now the tarts, most people don't know this, but they are made very differently. I know at the factory where they make the wax and everything, there's a big steel drum that spins, it's freezing cold, and they spit the like beads of the concentrated oil and the tinted wax onto those drums. And think of it kind of like Dippin' Dots. Like, it's going to freeze in these little dot forms. And they roll off the drum. They compact them like really, really, really tight and pressured into like the little molds of the tart. That's why these are called tarts, because they look like tarts. I know people call tarts, you know, for anything that's small wax to be thrown in a burner now, but that's why these are called tarts. And it's compressed into that shape. That's why if you've ever noticed when you open up these tarts, they kind of crumble a little bit, like they kind of want to fall apart on you. It's not that you're crazy or you did anything wrong. It's because it's compacted into that because it's a higher concentrated oil. So these get anywhere from 8 to 10 burn time hours total. I mean, it's 2 hours at a time, burn it all day. But they get a long life out of them, especially compared to like the Better Homes and Gardens wax cubes. To me, nothing ever will top like Yankees because of the way that they're made. They're just made to such great quality. So these are made completely different than everything else. So I thought I'd tell you guys that because a lot of people just don't know. And I know the first time I ever opened one and it crumbled everywhere, I thought I screwed something up. I'm like, I just opened plastic. Like, how did it fall apart? But that's why. It's because of the way that it's made. And I'm really happy that I got to learn about that, you know, and all that fun stuff. And I know I've been talking for a while, but the last thing I was wanting to talk about is like, as weird as this is, I like to think of candles as wine. Like, I like to let them ferment, per se. Obviously, you want to store, like, if you have a lot, like I do, like you have a larger collection, you have places to store them. Obviously, you're not going to burn them all right off the bat. Is store them in a cool, dark place. Even like I've got them in crates on some parts that I'm just going to cover it with a blanket just to keep the warmth out and keep it dark, because they really are better, I say, with age. Because this is, I hate tumblers. Like, I don't really dig tumblers, but this one is so, I hope the camera can tell, but it looks like a slushie. Like, you look like you could almost drink it. And that is going to be the best smelling candle you could burn. That is why a lot of candles I let just sit for, you know, a year if I can. The next time, like, you know, Pink Sands, I might not, well, this one would be perfect to burn for this spring and summer. But if I had one that looked kind of like this, I might hold on to it for, like, say a year, maybe burn it next summer. As weird as that is, it's my own little personal method. But I love when they get so concentrated like this, because you know the entire candle is just going to smell awesome. Because if you're familiar with Yankee, these little beads of oils that get up here, obviously people know that those are what make it smell. Those are what is awesome. And this is like a perfect example. I bought this at the semi-annual sale last year. This is a half and half one. This is like the beautiful slushy side. This is like the normal spot still left that hasn't really settled. So that's the perfect way I know to explain it for you guys, is this is like the best way to show it. Now, it's kind of mixed up, but this is the best way I can show you on the camera, because this is going to smell phenomenal. And that's, you know, it's still going to smell good even on here, but it's definitely going to do a good kick in for all of that. So, I know this was a random video. It's my personal opinion. The facts that I do know, like how tarts are made or the burn times, obviously I have learned that from Yankee Candle itself. I've talked to managers, I've talked to people, I've learned different stuff, I've read pamphlets, I've done research, like, you know, research it if you need be. But the other things, as far as like when to trim wicks, or, you know, like the letting them settle and, like I say, ferment, that's my personal thing. That's my personal thing. That's not on behalf of Yankee or anybody. That's just what I do. I love waiting for them to get really dark and juicy before I burn them. And I've gotten to where I don't trim wicks unless it's just a little ball on top. I'll get rid of it because it's going to fall and smoke and stink. But still, I mean, they recommend, so if you want to stick to their recommendations, or if you know a method for yourself, please share that. Like, please let me know things that have worked for you before. I hope this was very informative for people that are maybe new to Yankee, or maybe even if you're not, you just never knew. But I just really wanted to share that experience with you guys and teach you a little bit about their wax and why I love them so much. That's why it's my favorite candle company ever. And as always, comment, rate, subscribe. Let me know if any of these tips work for you, or let me know any tips or tricks you have yourself that I have never even heard of. And I will see all you guys later. Bye.